Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another LNO Fireside Chat. I'm your host for today, Philip Berry, joined by Harris Hamburg and Cayla Larson. And they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves and their Aether Sprint project as they make it through the semifinals with the hope to make it to the finalists by next week. And Cayla and Harris, if you want to take it over and let us know a little bit about yourselves and a little bit about your project and what you guys are trying to get after.
Sure, of course. Thank you, Barry. I'm starting my friend. I've been in the Air Force for coming up on about 15 years or so. Since my fourth assignment. I'm mission systems or ammo by trade, and the project that we're working on is the mobile munitions production platform. My partner, Hamburg, over here has got a lot more information after he introduced himself.
I'm Sergeant Hamburg. I've been in for about 18 years. I'm also munitions systems by trade. We're currently in our control section. So about a year ago, we were conducting this exercise for like the ACE concept, and we kind of had trouble figuring out how ammo is going to conduct their ACE operations with how we currently do our MUNDOPs. And the issues we ran into was the idea was to send 2 to 4 ammo troops to the ACE spokes, where that wasn't feasible with our current operations because we have to bring a munitions assembly conveyor with us, and that requires a 50 by 100 foot improved surface, which we didn't really have in our ACE operation. It also requires 8 to 12 people to assemble, with a minimum time of an hour to assemble. And it's not the manning or the time that we had in this ACE environment. So afterwards, Sergeant Larson and I were just kind of small talking about, ways we could improve that process. And what we came up with our mobile munitions production platform. Basically, it takes the entirety of a Mac and a forklift and a trailer and puts it on this small platform that you can either load onto the bed of a truck like a F550, or it fits on the back of like a one of our munitions trailers called a MHU 110 trailer. And
essentially what we're trying to do is condense a lot of our munitions, our core munitions production functions that are related to ACE into a single mobile platform. That's going to save us time. That's going to save our airmen a lot of heartache when it comes to being out there in the field, boots on the ground. That's going to make us much more effective in an ACE environment, and it really is going to bring a lot to the table. It's going to foundationally change the munitions career field and how we do business.
It's able to condense our footprint and also the manning required from 8 to 12 people down to a 2 to 3 man team that's able to go out into these ACE operations and conduct munitions operations.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say is like, it sounds like it's not only going to positively affect the ammo community or munitions community, but also like other communities, right? Like if it saves cargo space, manpower, right? That alleviates more people to do other things or more important things than build up, tear down, right? Assuming. And then is there applicability outside of ACE, or is the primary focus right now like ACE kind of centric?
The primary focus is ACE-centric, but our platform, ideally, our first COA, if you will, would be focused on a truck or a flatbed truck, so that it is able to be utilized for other functions or purposes.
Very cool. And how far have you guys gotten so far? Like, what are some of your roadblocks or hurdles as you're making it through the Aether Sprint?
Right now it's peak EPB season here and in the MUN squadron, so it's probably the scheduling. Aside from that, we're progressing through wickets pretty well. I think we have a meeting scheduled with our career field manager. We've reached out, talked to Viscos, Warcry. We're working on some do-outs for them. So really, we're making decent progress. Slow, but decent progress on most fronts right now.
So I heard you say Viscos, your CFM, and then the Warcry program. Assuming that your CFM and Viscos are supporting you guys, is that correct in what I heard, or?
Yes. Viscos has some information that we need to get to them. But they our meeting with them went actually pretty well. It didn't go definitely didn't go how I thought it was going to go.
No, yeah, we were expecting a resounding no, but it seemed like they liked our idea. It's just there's some hurdles and hoops we got to jump through, and then of course funding is always an issue, so that's something we got to sort out too.
I mean, if your CFM is supporting you, Viscos is supporting you, one of the owning agencies, right? Like that's always leaps beyond most innovations as they come to the wickets, right? Like I have a good idea, but now 20 people have shot it down. So from what I'm hearing, you guys are already getting support, which is great. And if what's holding you up is EPB season, that's even better because, I mean, airmen matter most, right? But what in terms of costs, do you have an assumed associated cost with what one might cost if it were developed out, or are you guys still trying to scope that out as you're diving into what some of the requirements might be?
Well, we're still kind of trying to figure out costs with everything that's associated. I know the first item we were looking at, of course, was a truck, and that'll be 80 to 90,000. Then you still have to source some of the things like a hoist or a generator, or what parts we need for our CTK, things like that. It's still a work in progress as far as what total cost is probably going to be per platform.
I think after meeting with Warcry, their initial ballpark estimate was somewhere between $400,000 to $500,000.
And that includes the initial design, scope, build, and then after that, the if somebody wanted to purchase that design and like build, it would be at a lower cost, I assume. Correct.
Hopefully, we don't have clarification on that one just yet because we're still in the early stages. So that's probably going to evolve as we continue to refine that with them.
Okay. Yeah. But that works. And then, and it sounds like you guys already have the data that will potentially yield a positive ROI if the investment were to be with Warcry. Okay, I see head nods. So yeah, do you want to talk through that at all?
Yeah. Well, the return on investment is until we start field testing or we actually get one fielded and start using it in real world. I mean, we're counting pallet spaces, we're adding up short tons, and we're looking at hours saved, stuff like that. But what's really going to be the metric, I think, at least for me, is the satisfaction of the feedback from the airmen who actually use it. There's been a lot of talk in the ammo community after this has come out. Yeah, where's this been? That would be great. There's been other comments that some of them deal with the forms, the checkout for that's going to be a nightmare. But overall, it's very positive, I think. But yeah, it's going to save us a lot in transportation, pallet spaces, and as a result, funding.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then as you guys progress through the Aether Sprint and you bring your pitch to the A4, what would be your next steps whether you succeed or do not succeed with going on to the next stage?
I think a good next step for us is to see how we can continue to advance the idea, maybe not exactly in that form. Something does need to change. That's pretty evident. I don't think that is a hard no. I think that's a maybe not this route. So we'll get there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think as far as like avenues, I mean, there's countless avenues we have to either if this one doesn't work out. Well, it's just finding the one that works for us.
Yeah. How the current process and the current equipment, do you guys know how long that's been around? How long that's been being used?
Our current municipal assembly conveyor, it's in its third iteration. It's been used since the 70s.
It's been at least
the same basic design, just slight improvements on the structure. Yeah, it's made for more long-term deployments than like the ACE idea.
Yeah, it's been around at least since the first Gulf War.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, if we're talking like even early 90s, right? That's probably across 3 different iterations of the types of deployment or the phases in which we deploy, right? Like we deploy very differently today than we did in the early 90s. So when we talk about updating process and updating how we move people, oftentimes we forget about the equipment and how that needs to change and be versatile as well, in terms of innovation and making things a little bit better, right? Like the process is one step. Sometimes the equipment gets forgotten about, and we end up with something from the 70s that needs a little bit more momentum. Yeah,
for sure. The fun thing about this, the concept or the idea that we had, is that actually isn't necessarily a new thing. Kind of like the ACE concept isn't anything new. The inspiration for our project actually came from a piece of old ordnance equipment from World War II, when they were hopping around doing different things, and we're basically dusting us off the shelf but adapting it to fit our current situation in the world.
Yeah, actually, our first like initial sketch was I went into paint and I took that platform off the World War II truck and I pasted it on the back of a flatbed, and I don't know, it kind of accelerated our idea, I think.
Visually, it definitely helps.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If anybody shoots this down and says, innovation doesn't work, all these new ideas, just you need to pull up that old World War II sketch and be like, this is nothing new. Let's rewind the clock a little bit. Let's go back in time. Let's talk about what we were doing and we should have kept doing. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, do you guys have anything else? Is there any closing thoughts or any kind of big shout outs you want to make before we wrap it up here?
Oh man, closing thoughts. I'm excited and a little nervous to see where this goes going forward. Shout outs. Thank you to the Tesseract team, to you, Barry, to Sir Nash, everybody that's helped us move this along, coaches, like everybody's given us input, support, inspiration. It's been amazing. It's been humbling.
Yeah. I'd say the same. Certainly, Sir Nash, because we almost hit a roadblock with our idea, and then he came in with Aether Sprint, and we let him know about it. And he's like, "No, this is awesome. We need to push this forward." And he's kind of helped us get the ball rolling a little more than where we were at initially.
Yeah, I think this round for Aether Sprint is really unique because the coaches are a lot more engaged, and we've given them a lot more tools and a lot more resources than in the past as we've kind of grown and iterated. So I think it's really cool to see some of the coaches come back this year and be ready to go full steam in supporting the teams. And I think that's what's going to make you guys successful. Bottom line, whether or not you proceed to lower or not, like the momentum the coaches have already put forward on most of these projects, they're just as passionate as some of you that are like doing the thing, right? So I think that's the coolest part. Cool. And I think we'll close it here. I appreciate you guys' time and the shout outs, and thank you again for submitting for Aether Sprint. And I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of this project. I think you guys are going to do great.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you. Really appreciate everything.